How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Let's Play Silent Hill 2. We are now in Otherworld Brookhaven Hospital, marking our first time in Silent Hill 2 entering the Otherworld, which is notably later than either Silent Hill 1 or 2. It takes much longer to get here to the Otherworld than in those two games. But then again, the pace of Silent Hill 2... Whoa, that was buggy. The pace of Silent Hill 2 is much, much slower than the other games. And it's one of those things that you either love it or you hate it. I know a lot of people actually don't like Silent Hill 2, or rather, they just don't like playing it. They appreciate things about it and the symbolism and all that stuff. But some people just can't get past the fact that this is a very slow-paced game. It's a really slow burn. So, a note that we read in the last episode alluded to what the Otherworld actually is, which is kind of a wishy-washy thing in the first place. It's really hard to define and pin down what exactly the Otherworld is, but it's caused by this paranormal presence of the town. It's a place where reality and unreality intersect, I think is the way the note put it. It's this parallel nightmare world that's much more overtly threatening and degraded compared to the normal world. You can also see that the nurses take on a more kind of rust-colored tone, a bloodier color palette. They're a bit tougher in the other world. There are still kind of the softer pink nurses as well. Let's see, I was locked up inside the basement's basement. It was so small and dark, and I was so afraid I dropped my precious ring, but I will never ever go back there. So we get a dry cell battery in here, and we get a basement storeroom key in a little cubbyhole next to a note that was talking about the basement's basement and how someone was too afraid to go back there. So, pleasant times ahead. So it still takes about 4 shots to knock the nurses down. After that, you can just run past them. Most of the time, it's not worth expending the bullets to straight up kill them, and they swing a little bit too fast to get around them normally, unless you're really good at juking them. So 4 shots knocks them down, then you can run straight past them. There's a painting of a woman on the door. The hands of the painting are actually in 3D, so they're sticking right out at James. That door will be important later, near the end of Nightmare Brookhaven Hospital. Oh, I just called it Nightmare Brookhaven. That's kind of like an interchangeable thing. There is an ampoule there. Ampoules are full heals. This note, she is an angel. No one knows, only I can see the lady at the door. They cannot walk along her bridge thread. They fall from the weight of their crimes. Like bloated and ugly corpses, their sins, she devours them. Sin and sinner alike, she saves me, she is an angel. The lack of punctuation in this really messes me up bad. There are a lot of similarly grammatically questionable notes in the hospital, and they all appear to be written by different patients with different impairments. And again, it's likely that the patients who were described in that memo early on in the hospital, it's likely that they wrote those notes. Here we can see the meds that Maria was taking. This is the room we dumped her off in. It should be S3, I think? But she is no longer anywhere to be found. So, she's about to become a headache again. This save pad only appears to be here in the Otherworld, which is quite handy because I would like to have this here in case something goes wrong. Okay, I was trying to figure out whether or not that was outside or in-game. If something goes wrong at the end of Brookhaven Hospital, it's handy to have that. A lot of the noises you hear, not only around the hospital, but throughout the entire game, are randomized ambient sounds. So from one playthrough to the next, you might not actually hear the same effects. It can be quite unnerving.
James!
Mary? Oh, Maria. It's you. I thought you were... Sorry. Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway? You don't sound very happy to see me. I was almost killed back there. Why didn't you try to save me? All you care about is that dead wife of yours. I've never been so scared in my whole life. You couldn't care less about me, could you?
No, I just...
Then stay with me. Don't ever leave me alone. You're supposed to take care of me. So, what about Laura? Did you find her?
Yeah, but... she ran away.
We've got to find her.
You really seem to care about her. Do you know her?
I've never met her before. I just feel sorry for her. She's all alone. And for some reason, I feel like it's up to me to protect her.
Maria's affinity for Laura makes me like Maria less. Because it's always, let's go after the little shit kid. Although I do love how James screams liar at her, at this little girl. Oh, but still. Laura holds a petty grudge. Fart face. We got a ring down there, and it's not immediately evident why we get a ring. But more importantly, when we try to go down that ladder the first time, Maria is right there. So she left her room and found her way over to James, and now we have Maria back with us. So we still have to escort her around. If Maria dies, I believe it's a game over, but it's very, very easy to keep her alive, just by running past enemies. You don't really have to divert a lot of your attention to her, which makes her a fine escort character. Whoop. That might be a Freudian slip. Unlike, what's her name, Eileen from Silent Hill 4.
Hi there, everybody! Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another exciting edition of Trick or Treat! Here you either answer the questions correctly and win a great prize, or fail to answer correctly and receive the punishment. It all depends on you. And our lucky, or should I say unlucky challenger today is James. James Sunderland! Are you ready to play Trick or Treat? Okay, here's your first question. Merry-go-round, haunted house, roller coaster, Ferris wheel, and teacups. Silent Hill is home to a thrilling amusement park that both children and adults love. The question is, what is the name of this amusement park? 1. Fantasyland. 2. Silent Hill Amusement Park. 3. Lakeside Amusement Park. Okay, quickly on to question number 2. Silent Hill witnessed a gruesome murder a few years back. A brother and sister were playing in the road when they were attacked and chopped into pieces with an axe. Torn flesh, smashed bones, splattered blood, and finally, bitter tears. What a terrible tragedy. What a gruesome end to such innocent lives. Now the question, What was the name of the murderer who committed this vile act? 1. Walter Sullivan. 2. Scott Fairbanks. 3. Eric Gaines. Now for our third and final question. South of the lake is a deserted old neighborhood called South Vale. From there to Pale Vale, the central resort area northwest of the lake, there's only one road you can take. Just one road, no more. The third and final question is, what is the name of that road? 1. Bachman Road. 2. Rindell Street. 3. Nathan Avenue. Well, that's the last of our questions. Have you got it all figured out? When you know the answers, head to the storeroom on the 3rd floor to collect your prizes. But be careful if you're wrong. Well then, everybody, thanks for tuning in. See you again sometime. Bye-bye.
What was that?
Whoa! God, it dumped me right out of the elevator. Whoops. Yeah, that's one of the most bizarre things in the entire game. I have no explanation for why that's there. It's just like, so odd, so strange. Totally disarming, too, because you don't see it coming at all, and the whole time you're just bewildered by it. It's baffling, man. It still leads to some cool rewards.
You can't open it?
Yeah, Maria, give me a hand here.
Come on. You're supposed to be the big man around here. How's a little girl like me supposed to help? What's this? Not very cute, is it? Here, James. You take it.
Thanks.
We got another ring. The first one we got was made of copper. This one is made of lead. This one's a stretch. This one's pretty obtuse. But we need those 2 rings to put on the hands. The door with the 3D hands. But first, before we do anything, we're going to take the elevator back up to the 3rd floor. Even though we've just taken it down to the 2nd. We're going to ride it right on back up to the 3rd floor because, if you recall, the quiz master told us that our prize, if we should get the questions correct, is in the storeroom on the 3rd floor. So we have to exit the patient wing here, and then the storeroom should be, I think, to the left? I'll know in a second. No, my right. That nurse isn't bothering me. The storeroom's right here. The doors are kind of a mess to look at. Their textures are shitty in the other world. They don't really look like doors, so it can be easy to miss them sometimes. Here we go. So the solution is that the top row is number 3, the middle row is number 1, and the bottom row is number 3 again. It's just based on how the questions were presented to you. You get 5 cases of shotgun shells, and you get 2 full health heals in the form of ampoules. So the questions. Question 1 was, what was the name of Silent Hills amusement park? The 3rd possible answer was Lakeside, which is the correct one. Question number 2 was about the serial killer. We actually read about the serial killer from the question in a memo from the apartments when we dislodged the garbage from the garbage chute. And that was, the first answer was Walter Sullivan, which is the correct one. And then finally, how do you get out to Paleville, which is through Nathan Street, the 3rd answer. So 313. Now we will combine the rings together. This just makes it quicker to use items because you don't have to go into your inventory twice. You could do the same thing with a lot of keys. So it's a handy feature that they start to really force you to use, or prompt you to use more frequently here in Brookhaven. There's a note on the ground. I took the director's key, the one to the museum. I hid it behind the praying woman when I went out for the day trip. I picked it up, but I did not steal it. I'm not a criminal. It's kind of childlike. Like, it's clearly written by someone with some mental deficits. And then right on out here, just take off running. Just run, run, run. This part's no problem. Just try not to spend too much time running into walls. I know it's hard because the controls are a little clumsy, whether you're using tank controls or 2D controls here, but it's fine on normal. On hard, you're going to want to shoot Pyramid Head to slow him down. Just make sure you don't shoot Maria.
Open up!
We failed to save Maria. It can't be helped. That will always happen no matter what. You just have to make it to the elevator. If Pyramid Head kills her before you make it there, you will game over, I think. But that's it. That's the end of Brookhaven Hospital, and that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.